Have you ever felt haunted by a weaker version of yourself? That ghost of who you once were, the one who was too afraid, too uncertain, too small. You have fought, tooth and nail, to become someone else. To build a fortress of competence and strength around your heart. And yet, it's still there. A whisper in the quiet moments, telling you that you are an imposter. We will call this the Ghost King's Dilemma. It is the silent war waged not against our enemies, but against the memory of our own frailty. It is the fear that one day, the world will see us not for the king we have become, but for the timid child we left behind. Today, we will walk with a prince who became a king, to understand this phantom. And I promise you, by the end of our journey, you will learn not how to banish your ghost, but how to make it kneel. You will learn that true power isn't found in killing your past, but in forcing it to serve your crown. The scene transitions to a series of quick, visceral shots. A modern person hesitating before a presentation, a hand trembling before a difficult phone call, someone looking at their own reflection with a flicker of doubt. The visuals are gritty and emotionally raw. You've done it. You have achieved the very thing that the older version of you could only dream of. The promotion, the respect, the relationship. You stand in the room you once felt unworthy to enter, and you hold the title you once felt unqualified to carry. But you don't feel the peace you expected. Instead, there is a low hum of anxiety. You find yourself being harsher than necessary with your team, because you fear they see the same indecisiveness you still feel. You deflect compliments, because they feel like lies that are about to be exposed. You push people away, building higher walls, because intimacy feels like an interrogation you are destined to fail. Have you ever noticed this? That your greatest moments of external success are often paired with your most intense moments of internal terror? Imagine you've just been made a manager at your job. It's everything you've worked for. But in your first team meeting, an employee challenges your decision. It's a reasonable question, but you don't hear the question. You hear an accusation. You hear, "You don't belong here. You don't know what you're doing." So you react. You shut them down, coldly and efficiently. You assert your authority not with wisdom, but with force. In that moment, you aren't a leader. You are a frightened child in a king's robes, swinging a sword that is too heavy for you. The room goes silent. You won the battle, but you can feel the trust in the air curdle. This is the hidden cost of the Ghost King's Dilemma. In your desperate attempt to prove your ghost wrong, you become a tyrant. You are so focused on silencing the whispers of your own past inadequacy that you can no longer hear the needs of your present kingdom. You become a ruler who inspires fear, not loyalty. And the loneliest man in the world is the king who sits on a throne of fear, especially when that fear is his own. The screen shows a portrait of Prince Knut, his gaze distant and melancholic, snow falling gently around him. He looks fragile, a stark contrast to the Viking warriors surrounding him. The key to escaping this prison of your own making can be found in the bitter frost of the north, in the transformation of a timid Danish prince named Knut. When we first meet Knut, he is the embodiment of the ghost self. He is a political pawn, hidden behind his guardian, Ragnar. He is paralyzed by fear, unable to speak, unable to act. He is a prince who is less than a man. His father, King Sweyn, sees him only with contempt. He is, by all measures, a failure. His entire early life is a testament to his own powerlessness. Yet, this same boy is destined to become Knut the Great. A ruthless, cunning, and powerful king who would forge an empire. How does such a profound change occur? The common answer is that he simply became strong. That he killed the weak boy inside him and replaced him with a wolf. But that is a dangerous, and ultimately false, interpretation. The secret to Knut's power, the philosophy we must unearth, is far more complex. It is the realization that true strength is not the absence of weakness, but the mastery of it. The ghost of the timid prince was never truly banished. Instead, it was captured, interrogated, and forged into a tool. Knut didn't destroy his past self, he put a leash on it. He learned to listen to its fears, not as commands, but as intelligence. This is the philosophy of the true king. Let us break it down into its core principles. Visual. A close-up of a gnarled, scarred hand gripping the hilt of a sword. Each scar tells a story. First, there is the law of acknowledged scars. Your past weaknesses, your moments of fear and failure, are not shameful stains to be hidden. They are scars. And a scar is not a wound. A scar is a testament that a wound has healed. It is a mark of experience. Knut's terror gave him a perspective his brutish and arrogant father could never possess. His fear taught him to observe. It taught him to listen. While other Vikings saw only the glory of battle, Knut's fear forced him to see its cost, its ugliness, its consequences. This deep, painful understanding of human suffering, born from his own, would later allow him to understand the hearts of men in a way no simple warrior could. He learned that the most dangerous man on the battlefield is not the one who feels no fear, but the one who has felt it, studied it, and learned to aim it like a weapon. Your scars are not your weakness, they are the map of where your strength was born. Visual. Knut, after Ragnar's death, his eyes cold and empty, making a ruthless decision. A Viking village burns in the distance. Second, we must understand the paradox of performed strength. When you act with excessive force simply to prove you are no longer weak, you are not acting from a place of strength. You are acting from a place of profound fear. You are performing for an audience of one, your own ghost. After Knut's first taste of loss and betrayal, he begins a campaign of calculated cruelty. He is desperate to shed the skin of the boy he was. He orders a village to be razed, he sends men to their deaths without flinching. But watch his eyes. There is no conviction there, only a hollow emptiness. This isn't strength, it's a frantic overcorrection. It is the action of a man screaming at his own reflection, "See? I am not afraid anymore." But the man who needs to scream it is the one who believes it the least. True strength is quiet. It is measured. It does not need to perform, because it has nothing to prove. Finally, there is the acceptance of the heavy crown. A true king does not pretend to be infallible. He does not build a myth of his own perfection. Instead, he carries the weight of his own flawed humanity for all to see. He accepts that the timid boy is a part of him, just as the ruthless conqueror is a part of him. Peace comes not when one side vanquishes the other, but when they are integrated into a single, complex whole. Knut's journey towards true kingship begins when he stops running from his past and starts using it. He begins to speak of a different kind of power, not just of swords and land, but of love, of paradise on earth, of a kingdom free from the very violence that created it. This vision is born directly from the suffering the timid prince endured. He seeks to build a world where a boy like him would not have to suffer. He turns his greatest wound into his life's purpose. The journey from a timid prince to a true king is not one of erasure, but of integration. It is like a blacksmith forging a blade. The fire is the weakness, the pain, the fear that makes the metal malleable. The hammer is the action, the will, the strength that gives it shape. But the most crucial step is the quench, the rapid cooling that locks the new form into place. That is acceptance. Plunging your fiery, hammered self into the cold water of truth, accepting all of it. Without the fire, the steel is useless. Without the hammer, it has no form. And without the quench, the blade will be brittle and shatter at the first true test. The visual style shifts to a more instructional, clear presentation. The narrator's voice becomes more direct, a guide. This philosophy is not merely a story. It is a practical guide to mastering the ghost that haunts you. To turn this ancient wisdom into a tool you can use tomorrow, here are 3 steps to begin the integration. Step 1. Conduct a ghost audit. Take out a piece of paper or open a new document. On one side, write down the qualities of the king you are today, your strengths, your achievements, your competencies. Be honest. Now, on the other side, you will summon the ghost. Write down the qualities of the person you used to be, the one you were running from. What were their fears? What were their insecurities? What did they believe about themselves? Do not judge. Do not editorialize. Your only job is to be an objective chronicler of this person. See them clearly. For many of us, this is the hardest part. We have spent years refusing to even look in this direction. But you cannot put a leash on something you refuse to see. Step 2. Practice strategic vulnerability. The ghost gains its power in the dark. It thrives on secrets. Your next step is to strategically bring it into the light. This is not about complaining or seeking pity. It is about reclaiming the narrative. Find a person you trust, a friend, a partner, a mentor. The next time a situation arises that triggers your old insecurities, instead of masking it with aggression or avoidance, state the connection as a simple fact. For example, instead of berating a colleague for a mistake out of fear that it makes you look incompetent, you might say later, in private, "I apologize if I was harsh." When projects go off track, it triggers an old fear of mine of not being in control, and it's something I'm working on. This is not weakness. This is a profound statement of power. You are telling your ghost, "I see you. I am not afraid of you. You no longer dictate my actions." You are showing others that your strength is so complete, it is not threatened by the admission of a past frailty. Step 3. Perform the crown ritual. The Ghost King's dilemma is fueled by a sense of separation, the belief that the weak you and the strong you are two different people at war with each other. This ritual is designed to unify them. The next time you accomplish something significant, you close a deal, you finish a difficult project, you navigate a hard conversation successfully, find a quiet moment for yourself. Close your eyes. First, vividly recall the feeling of the accomplishment. The pride, the relief, the confidence. Feel it in your body. This is the king. Then, deliberately summon the ghost. Picture that younger, more fearful version of yourself. The one who believed this very moment was impossible for them. See their fear, their doubt. Now, here is the crucial step. In your mind, have the king, the present you, turn to the ghost. And have the king say, "We did this. You were afraid, and I was brave. You were uncertain, and I was decisive. But we are the same person. Your fear is what taught me to be cautious. Your doubt is what taught me to be prepared. We did this together." You must consciously and deliberately merge the two. The goal is to feel, in your bones, that the person who succeeded is not a replacement for the person who struggled. They are the same person, evolved. You are not a king who killed a prince. You are a king who carries that prince within him, and is all the wiser for it. Does this philosophy work? Does the integration of our ghosts truly lead to peace and power? We need only look at the arc of history, both in saga and in our own world. Knut's initial reign is steeped in the blood of the Ghost King's dilemma. He is brutal, paranoid, and reactive. He kills, he betrays, he conquers, all actions driven by the desperate need to prove he is not the boy who hid in the cart. He is a king, yes, but he is a miserable one. A man at war with himself cannot bring peace to a kingdom. But as he ages, a shift occurs. He begins to grapple with his actions. He speaks of creating a paradise, of using his power to end suffering. He performs a famous act of piety, ordering the tide not to rise, not out of arrogance, but as a public lesson in the limits of earthly power. This is the act of a man who has made peace with his own limitations, with his own humanity. He is no longer just performing strength, he is embodying wisdom. He becomes Knut the Great not when he is at his most ruthless, but when he integrates that ruthlessness with the memory of the suffering that birthed it. This mirrors a profound psychological truth, articulated by the great psychoanalyst Carl Jung. Jung spoke of the shadow, which is everything within us that we repress and deny, our fears, our weaknesses, our darker impulses. He argued that true psychological maturity is not achieved by defeating the shadow, but by integrating it. To deny your shadow, he warned, is to give it power over you. It will project itself onto others, causing you to see enemies everywhere. It will erupt in moments of stress, causing you to act in ways you don't understand. But if you turn and face it, if you bring it into the light and acknowledge it as part of you, you rob it of its monstrous power. It becomes just a part of you, a tool you can understand and control. You cannot be whole without it. The Stoic philosopher Seneca wrote, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." This applies to our own past. If you are constantly running from the ghost of who you were, you have no true home in who you are. You are a fugitive in your own life. The proof is in the story. The proof is in our psychology. The only path to sustainable peace is not through victory over your past self, but through a truce. You must become a king wise enough to seek counsel from the timid prince who still lives within your heart. The journey we have taken today is not about becoming a perfect, fearless leader. It is about becoming a whole one. It is about understanding that the cracks in our foundation are what give the fortress its character, and its strength. Now, I want you to reflect. In the comments below, I ask you this. What is one quality of your ghost self, a quality you've always seen as a weakness, that, if you accepted it, could actually be a source of wisdom or strength? Is it your fear, which could become caution? Your sensitivity, which could become empathy? Your self-doubt, which could become humility? Share it with us. The first step to mastering the ghost is to name it. If you believe, as we do, that our deepest struggles contain the seeds of our greatest wisdom, then join our longship. Subscribe to the Farmland Preacher, and let us continue to search for peace in a violent world, together. And if you wish to understand the other side of this coin, the man who appears to be all strength, who has no ghost because he never allowed himself to be a child, then you must understand the man who shaped both Thorfinn and Knut. Watch our video, Askeladd, the tragedy of a man without a true home, next. The link is on your screen. Be well. And do not be afraid of your own ghosts. They are only waiting for their king to give them an order.